Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Seamless.AI daily product training. Really appreciate everybody joining here with us, and we look forward to getting started here in just a couple of minutes. We will go ahead and give everyone a few minutes here to get filtered in and start joining us. Typically wait 3 or 4 after the hour just to give everyone a little bit of time to get settled in. But we will go ahead and get started here with our daily product training demo in just a few moments. A couple of house cleaning items to touch on before we get started in full. The first thing is if you have any questions or you have anything that you want us to go over or clarify within the product demo, just simply use that Q&A button down at the bottom of your Zoom conference screen. And what that'll do is it'll send a message to both myself and David, who are both operating the demo here today. And we will work to make sure that we answer your questions either as part of the demo process and do them right in line as David's going through the demo, or we'll go ahead and type you back an answer there to answer your question. Maybe with some helpful links as well to get you the information that you need. So if you have any questions, use that Q&A section at the bottom of the Zoom conference, and we will go ahead and get those answered for you throughout the webinar. And then also, after you're done with the webinar, if you have any questions, there's a very robust help center. There's also a webinars and videos section that has some great information in there. It has on-demand videos. It has some of our past on-demand webinars as well. That you can also go back and reference. So if you have any questions as those come up after the webinar, you can use that help center, which David will also go over here. He'll give you a little bit of an overview of that solution and of that platform, so you can see how that works and how that can help you get more acclimated with the system. Yeah, I see somebody else, a few others also just joined. So just real quick then, reiterating before we get started, if you have any questions throughout this webinar process, use that Q&A button at the bottom and just text in or type in whatever questions that you might have, and we'll do our best to go ahead and get that answered. That is the best way to kind of raise your hand and alert us to any questions that you might have as part of this webinar process. So without that being said, with all that being said, I will go ahead and hand it over to David Toll. And David Toll is our Director of Customer Success here at Seamless. I myself am Jake Phillips, and I am VP of Product here at Seamless. So between the two of us, we're here committed to making sure we build the best possible platform for all of our customers. So all that feedback that you provide or any questions that you have only help us to make sure we're better improving the platform and driving better usability, better data, just better integrations, everything across the board, really making this the most seamless, quote unquote, platform for you to build your leads and to be able to use those leads as part of your sales and marketing process. So without further ado, I'll go ahead and hand it over to David, and David will begin walking us through the Seamless.AI product demo.
Thank you, Jake. Appreciate the introduction. And I'm seeing a few folks already taking advantage of our chat feature to say hello. Sounds like we have some folks from AnswerNet joining us today. Really excited to have you all on this tour of the platform. So please feel free to continue to ask questions as they come up right there in that Q&A. It's always exciting to see people making use of it. I'm currently the Director of Customer Success here at Seamless.AI. I do have a bit of a background as a teacher, though, too. So I'll be sure to take my time and get everything covered for new users, experienced users. This is designed for folks who are just getting started using the platform. So we'll provide a very careful overview of the basic functionality here in the app that you see before you right now. We'll cover our contact search and our company search. We'll go over some basic settings that you can configure to personalize your Seamless.AI account and make sure that it ties in effectively with the rest of your business operations and products that you use to sell and market your product, get it into the right hands. Then we'll also take a look at our Chrome extension. As you can see, I have it installed right up here in my browser, and how you can use it to leverage seamless search outside of the app. We'll particularly look at LinkedIn and LinkedIn Sales Navigator. to make sure that you can take a look at that process. It's a combination of tools that we feature prominently on these webinars, mostly to raise the voice of many of our most successful customers. They have found that using that combination of resources has helped them deliver far more than they had anticipated, drive higher percentages of ROI than they had initially forecast. So we always like to share that success so you can replicate it as best as you possibly can. As Jake mentioned, before we get started into a proper tour of how to use this real-time search engine for sales professionals for you to find contacts to get your product in front of, I, of course, as the Director of Customer Success, I'm going to take a little time to show you where you can go to continue to get additional help here in the app. So obviously you have this webinar in place right now. You can answer questions as they come to you, and we'll do our best to answer them throughout the course of the webinar, follow up if we don't have time. But after this webinar is over, if you're in the app, you're running some searches and you have some questions, the good news is our CS team is only a click away right down here in the bottom right-hand corner. All you have to do is click on that help icon, and you'll have access to a fully searchable knowledge base, and you'll actually be able to review the articles from right here in the app. If you want to read through user guides, how-tos, on-demand training and videos, and then if you want to pop that out into the knowledge base proper, you can also do that too. Right. So once you get in here, you're getting a sneak preview at some redesigns that we're performing. So I'll go ahead and take us out of preview mode so you can see what it looks like today. But we are making some enhancements to our knowledge base to make it a little more accessible and highlight and feature some additional learning guides. But if you're in the knowledge base as it stands today, you still can move through different units and sections of content. You can search, you can ask questions. And we do, as Jake indicated, have a robust library of on-demand video training, including recordings of past daily webinars that can provide a great point of reference if you or your team ever need a refresher on anything that we cover today. And Jake has put together a rock-solid general 25-minute demo video that's on demand anytime you need. One other feature we make available in the app, anytime you're on any of the pages that you see before you, if you're in My Contacts or Find Companies, if you need a quick guided tour, just hop on this icon up here. It's persistent. It'll follow you throughout your experience on the app, no matter where you are. And then that's actually what Jake looks like right there, in case you were wondering. He's put together these AI-style guided experiences in the app, or product tours, that can take you through step-by-step what to do on each page. You may even see these automatically pop up from time to time when we release new features, or maybe if we enhance a certain part of the website or the app. And if you got it covered and you don't need the product tour, you can always exit out of it right up here. But those can always be useful too. And then finally, if you've gone through the product tours and you've worked through the knowledge base, maybe you haven't found an answer to your question yet, click on Contact Us, and you can send an email directly to our CS team. Let us know what type of question you have. And then you can attach a file. Maybe it's a video of something that you saw behaving unexpectedly, or a data set you want us to give additional look at, or images that'll help us troubleshoot what you're running into, or even if you're just looking for general best practices on finding accurate data, increasing your search results, we are here for that too. We want to make sure that you're more than just an effective user of our product. We want you to be successful. Real quick, I'm getting a few questions. I know we have some folks from the AnswerNet team on board right now. And I do see some comments as well to slow down so that I can make sure that everybody's able to follow along. I'll certainly continue to do my best. I really appreciate the feedback, and if I'm moving too fast, please continue to let me know. I do think we might have a few other people on outside of the AnswerNet team, since this is one of our general webinars. But be happy to follow up with anybody at AnswerNet if there are some additional questions or specific needs that you have at your organization that you want us to cover. If we don't address those today, then we can always take a look at any specific needs your organization has and schedule some additional time. We would be more than happy to do that. So I hope that answers some of those questions to get started. More than confident that we'll be able to cover the content that you need, but we can certainly evaluate that from there. All right, so now that we've introduced the support features and we have you covered on that front, I'm going to demonstrate our contact and company search. What I always like to do before we get too deep into the what is talk just briefly about the why behind this platform. And I also like to remind us that as much as this might look and feel like a database sometimes, it's not. This is a search engine. It's working with real-time data, just like other search engines, and producing results that match the parameters you ask it to look up. Another reason I always reinforce that is if you're a sales professional and you've been working in this space for a while, you have probably worked with your fair share of databases, and that's true for everybody on our team as well. In fact, that's why this platform exists, because of the shortcomings of traditional database-style solutions. Our founder and CEO, Brandon Bernanson, was using solutions like that when he was selling for companies like Google and IBM, and had some pretty aggressive goals, and found that he was missing 80 to 90% of his total addressable market by relying on a database that needed to be manually updated, not to mention that the manual overhead required to update databases in that fashion made those products fairly cost prohibitive. So he partnered with a team of developers to build this platform and leverage the power of artificial intelligence and real-time search data to get you connected with that 80 to 90% of your total addressable market that you miss when you use a traditional database-style solution. I reinforce that at the beginning of every training because it's worth bearing in mind. We've been working in databases for so long, we've probably developed ingrained habits we may not even be aware of that we might need to break or revisit based on how we've used those solutions in the past. When you're working with real-time search data, more opportunities and options open themselves up to you. So that's just some context for a few of the best practices and pro tips that we'll share throughout the course of this webinar. All of it comes from working closely with our most successful customers to understand what they have done to leverage this new technology to drive success for themselves and their business, so that we can share that success with you and help you replicate it. So that's a bit of the why. Let's finally take a look at the what and the how. So here within the app, we have our contact search and we have our company search. I'm going to start off with the contact search, and we'll use that to demonstrate how you start from searching contacts based on these parameters you see before you, how we then keep those contacts organized, and how you can then move those contacts from Seamless into your CRM, an Excel spreadsheet, anything you need to move those prospects forward in your workflow. So let's start by running a search. I'm going to go ahead and follow one of those prompts that you see up there in the examples and look for some contacts at Nike. And then you can filter by titles, keywords, names. We actually do have some clients, and again, I would love to learn. Please, folks at AnswerNet, please feel free to throw out some, questions or context that would be useful for us to tailor this a little bit to you in terms of how you typically prospect, what sort of contacts you look for, and in addition to that, where you typically source from. The reason I ask is, for instance, we do have a couple of clients that, while they are also building out lists for email marketing and call campaigns, sometimes they're working a booth at a trade show and they'll just get a name. So you can look up a name here and run a search on that name at that company and get their contact information if you didn't get a business card or if you weren't able to find them on LinkedIn. So you can use that name field in that fashion if that's the way you want to search, but our most successful clients tend to cast a wider net. So in this case, I'm going to demonstrate the search engine by looking for different titles at Nike. I'm going to go ahead and look for VP, director, so I can search for multiple titles at one time. And this is something else that we see really benefit our clients. Obviously, we would love to, get to the C-suite. Right? I'd love to get the CEO of Nike on the phone to pitch my product. And typically, when you're looking at a broad variety of companies, you're going to want to target those decision makers. Where we've seen companies have a lot of success, customers of ours, is not necessarily challenging that assumption, but broadening beyond it. One of the reasons that myself and others in other organizations have focused, on that front, is that we've been in situations before where we've had to pay additional investment into getting access to those titles. Well, that's not the case here. We've democratized this data. So as a result, you're able to look well beyond, CEO and get into VPs, get into directors. So you may as well cast a broad net. So I'm going to go ahead and run this search just to show you what happens next once I have those parameters in place. So what's happening here is Seamless is pulling in potential contacts that match your data. Now, I know right off the bat, you're going to want to start to find some of these contacts. And when you click on find or find email or find phone, that contact information is going to start to come in. And we're going to save that information right here in Seamless. And we're also going to validate it. Now, we'll look at that in a second. But I understand the temptation to jump right into searching. Before you do, there's one thing I want to make sure you get covered. Set a default list. So right here next to Find All, which as you can imagine would help you find all of these contacts on this page at once. When you go to set a default list, there are a number of processes later on that will be a lot more streamlined if you save these contacts to a list as you search. So I'm going to go ahead and click Find All for these Nike DMs just to demonstrate what happens next. I am seeing a couple of requests to target specific companies and titles. That's certainly something we can take a look at here in a moment. So I appreciate the opportunity to do a general demonstration, and then we'll dive into some specific use cases. So as you can see, when I hit Find All of the contacts listed on this page, we sourced all available data to pull in email addresses, phone numbers. So when you see this little icon here of the desk phone, that means you found a company phone. This little icon here that looks like an old-timey cell phone, that's a direct phone. And if I want to learn more about where this data is coming from, I can click on any of the contact data, email address, phone number, anything, and review what we found in our multi-step AI process to determine which are the most likely phone numbers to help you drive results. We found a really strong AI count for that particular phone number and a really high percentage as well, which is why it's ranked first. And then on the email front, we're actually sending a virtual email to the server at Nike.com to make sure we get a valid response back for tim.sheeran at Nike.com. And that's reflected here with that valid email AI and the 99% total AI accuracy validation data. If you scroll down a little further, you can see that some of these other email addresses that the search engine found, we confirmed were invalid based on that virtual email. So this information is available to you anytime you want to review it. All you have to do is click right there on the contact information, and it's all available for export and import into your CRM or export into an Excel spreadsheet as well. So before we move forward in the search, I'm going to look at a couple of other features here. One is under here in Intel. And I always point this out because I think it's easy to miss out on the information that you can gather here. In the company Intel feature, you can review specific information about the contact that you found, linked directly to their LinkedIn profile, Facebook, Twitter. One of the reasons we've included this is to give you options to intelligently build out your call script and your pitch to tailor it directly to Bert, to make it easy for you and your team to have resources on hand that not only help you learn more about him, where he's worked before, what he's posting about, but get company-level data on finances, SEC filings, keyword intelligence, website graders, social media mentions. All of this information is pulled together here and scoped out for you. And one of the purposes this page also serves is to answer the question, where are we getting this information? So when we say all available sources, these are some examples of the places we're looking to find and then validate data on the contacts that you're searching for. We really do look at everything. So that contact intelligence data is available here. I want you to remember this when we take a look at CRM mapping, because there are some applications here that can be pretty interesting if you're looking to get some of this data mapped over into your CRM if you're using Salesforce or HubSpot. So more to come on that. So we've taken a look at contact validation, taken a look at contact intelligence. So if we like this list, I'm going to go ahead and actually use one of the suggestions we had earlier to run a demonstration. So one of the companies that folks are looking for is Scout Technology. So I'm going to go ahead and enter that in. And let's go, and we have the title Field Marketing Manager we're looking for too. So let's see what we find there. This might actually be a worthwhile instance where it can be worth trying a couple of different searches to see what we find by using title and by using keyword. So I'm going to go ahead and add a new default list here. And like I said, it's going to be very easy to try to jump right to the habit of searching, but I recommend making sure you have your default list in place before you do. So I've got that list set up. All right, I'm going to run my search. And I do find a couple of contacts here. So when I hit find all for these contacts, they're all going to be added to my Scout list. And right now we're researching and validating that information for you. What you'll see too here is as you head over into my contacts, this is where once you have these lists in place, you can start to filter and get creative with what you'd like to import or download. We'll take a look at that in a moment. Now let's take a look at some of this contact data as a use case as it's coming in. I've got it stored here in my contacts. Now for Vicky, right, we have that exclamation point next to the email address because we're still waiting on a signal to confirm the validation address on the email. So we'll continue to check back to attempt to get a more defined response from our servers on this email status. So whenever that's the case, we're going to make sure that we provide you with that information and get you covered. I'm going to look at Megan McCrae's email here as well to see what we find. And we see that we did get a valid response on that front.
And a little bit of clarification there too, David. When you do see the symbol there, the yellow symbol, he mentioned we will keep checking, and typically it's over the course of a 24-hour period. We'll check anywhere from 10 to 12 times. So within the first hour, we'll check about 5 times, and then every hour or so, few hours. So if you let this settle a little bit, we will go ahead and check many more times. And as we do our email validation, sometimes the first or second time, we won't get a response the third time. Typically within an hour, we do get about a 90% resolution rate on finding those because we do have an active for Megan McCrae at a valid email address at that format. We can still at this point be pretty confident that those are the email addresses for both Vicky and Mary there as well. So although they're unknown at this point, there's still a decent confidence level because we do have a valid response from one of the other ones. But letting those kind of settle and simmer for an hour up to 24 hours, if you have that kind of time, can help to further validate that response. And then the other thing too that I did want to point out is, especially if you're looking at a title at a company, David clicked search that went right into our search engine. The other thing that you can do is you can also click that social button. We'll go over social search a little bit more, but this is one way to jump into social search and stay contextual to what you're actually searching for. So this is going to take you right into your LinkedIn standard account, and it's going to give you some people who might be interesting to you. So you can go ahead and you can run that search within LinkedIn as well and potentially see if there's any supplementary data there. And if you do have access to LinkedIn Sales Navigator, you can also jump right into Sales Navigator and run that search. So we do have a continuum in terms of if you start using Seamless in our core search and you want to jump over into Sales Navigator, you can do that using kind of a slightly continuous process, or you can start directly from Sales Navigator. We have a lot of people who use this as their initiation point to start the search, and then as long as you have that Chrome extension installed, that'll go ahead and it'll see, as you can see here, give you those find buttons for those particular contacts. So a couple different ways you can find contacts. David's going to go over this in a little bit more detail, but I did, while we were on the topic, want to mention that using that social search button is another way to kind of stem off a LinkedIn search in addition to the native search within the Seamless platform. You could also use just to really cast as broad of a net and find as many contacts as possible across the search and social network there.
Yes, thank you, Jake. Excellent clarification. And as Jake mentioned, since he is the VP of product, you couldn't ask for a better subject matter expert on what exactly is happening at every step of the way with email validation, and especially with the Chrome extension and the value that it provides in LinkedIn and in LinkedIn Sales Navigator. So yeah, we'll go a little bit more in depth there, but certainly a preview of things to come. And I think when we're looking at particular use cases like this on a training, when we're looking at a particular company or set of titles, we like to make sure that we're showing you all of the different ways to search for those up front. So yeah, as you can see, we're continuing to work on these contacts. That provides really a general overview of how the contact search works, and even a preview of how it works in Sales Navigator and LinkedIn as well. We'll take a closer look at that probably in about 10 or 15 minutes. But yeah, as those contacts are coming in, we have them saved here. And did you notice when I was in LinkedIn, right? I hit Find All here, and you saw the screen scroll down. Now I'm doing it manually, but before that was happening as that was happening on its own. I wasn't moving my mouse. That was us making sure that we're staying on this page and bringing these contacts back to you here. And as you can see, I now have a much deeper Forescout list than I did before. So you have options. You can work directly within the app and search using these filters. We do have clients who use the filters that are available at a contact level in Sales Navigator. Let's say if you're looking for contacts at Forescout that are in particular locations, or if you're looking for contacts not at a particular company, but at companies with particular headcounts or in types of industries. Those are options that are available for you here in LinkedIn Sales Navigator. So we'll run another demonstration of that in a moment, but just some context for where we're heading on that front. But because I now have, a pretty healthy list of contacts here from Forescout, and I can certainly continue to roll through these and add more. The next step for me is going to be getting them out of Seamless and into the hands of my team, so we can start to dial, start to email, whatever method it is you're using to prospect these leads. So when I'm here in my contacts, I have options to import and I have options to download. Now let's start with the simplest version. If I'm going to download these contacts into a spreadsheet, I can click on download, and I can click download all to export every contact I've ever researched into a spreadsheet. Now you're probably asking what the difference between clean and raw is. The clean file is what most of our customers use. It still gives you more data than you probably need, but it's mostly isolated to the data that we were able to validate on some level and provide some confidence in. The raw data includes everything. We make it available because we do have some customers who like to run all available data through additional filters or validation software that they have. Mostly, again, it's our way to democratize the data and make sure you have access to as much of it as possible. That being said, most of our customers use download all clean because it gets them closer to the precise data that they're looking for. So in order to accomplish that, I can certainly download all of my contacts and use Excel to filter to get to the ones that I want. But we do offer some options here within the app to help you narrow that down. For instance, all of these columns come with a filter. If I just want to focus on the Forescout list, I can hit apply after selecting that checkbox, and now I'm only looking at contacts from Forescout. And the email and phone column, I can select only validated emails. I can select only contact phones if I want to avoid a company line, etc. And then when I download, I have the option to download filtered. And that will provide me with a spreadsheet that is limited to the filters I have in place here. So in this case, it would only provide contacts in my Forescout list. The other option you have is to import those contacts into your CRM if you have a direct integration set up between Seamless and your CRM. We have direct integrations out of the box with HubSpot, whose logo you see right there, and with Salesforce. We have an additional automation and partnership with Zapier that can help you connect to other CRMs, and we can take a quick look at that in just a moment. But the functionality here is pretty much the same. If I have that CRM connection in place and I only want to import the lead list that I built for Forescout, I can do that right there when I click Import Filter. Now, as it turns out, I have our HubSpot integration built into my app for training purposes, and I'm going to go ahead and click on that icon to show you. Oh, see, it's going to take a few seconds. Thank you, browser. And I'll go ahead and log in. And now we can take a look. These contacts are being added effortlessly into my HubSpot instance as we're finding them in real time. So I actually have my account configured to automatically import. So I'm going to go to CRM setup here, right there at the top where I have that icon where I can look at my user settings. We'll explore a couple of other settings here as well. But to get us started, this is where I can personalize, customize my HubSpot and Seamless.AI integration settings based on the needs of my organization. For instance, I can set it up to automatically import or not. That's certainly a tremendous efficiency driver. However, you might want to only import certain lead lists over others. So you can set that to no and manually import individual leads or import them in lists, really whatever you need. We have these set up and pre-configured for you, but we encourage you to come in here and make sure that they're set up to your liking. In addition to that, you can also personalize the mapping between Seamless.AI data fields and HubSpot data fields. Again, we have these in place when you jump in, so if you just want to work with the default field mapping, you're certainly welcome to do that, but you can always add new mapping as well. And this is what I alluded to earlier in the contact intelligence page. If you wanted to also include local weather, paid search intelligence, SEC filings, all of the things that we've researched on an individual contact and company level as part of that intelligent pitch building process, then you can map those fields into your CRM as well to give your team greater access to that data and even potentially to run lead scoring or assignments based off of it too, depending on what rules you have set up on that end. If you use Salesforce, the settings are virtually identical to what you see here for HubSpot. Now, let's say you're using a different CRM. I'm going to head over here to Connected Apps. Oh, and I don't need to save my changes, but thank you very much. And we have a connection with our Chrome extension, obviously, that we'll take a closer look at here in a moment. This is where you can add to Salesforce or add to HubSpot. Add to Zapier. If you're not familiar with Zapier, they're a product that we actually use in our CS and product organizations pretty extensively and for our sales team. Their value proposition is to be the connective tissue between anything that you use to run your business, any technology, right? So if I log into my account here and I click on that link, sorry folks, this will just take a moment while I move through a couple of logins and get in. There we go. So if you click on this link here in your account, you'll be invited to run automations between Seamless and other apps on Zapier. I'll accept my invite. And then from here, I can make what Zapier calls zaps that connect with dozens of apps. So I can set up my Gmail account to send an email to every contact that I save to Seamless as soon as they're saved to my account. I can set up an automation to add their phone number to a call list in Mojo. I can set up an automation to add them to a row in a Google Sheet or have them saved to my Drive. And this list goes on and on and on. You don't need to write code to do this. You just need to select the app and follow the steps. So it's a great product. That doesn't mean we're going to stop adding integrations. We do have more in scope, including more CRMs. We actually have an integration with Outreach that we are currently working on and hope to release very soon. Not to give away the store. There's a chance it could be released tonight, we're hoping, but we're going to make sure that it passes all of our validation first before putting it out into the wild. Basically, we want to make sure that the data you bring in via Seamless integrates as effortlessly as possible into the rest of your process. So we have dedicated resources working on more integrations through the rest of Q3 and Q4. This is where you can go today to make sure you're integrated into either HubSpot or Salesforce if you're using them as your CRM, and where you can go to explore the multitudinous efficiency gains that you can be provided by automations through Zapier. On a more tactical level, this is also where you can jump in and modify your account. If you need to work through billing or gather invoices, you can do so from within here as well. And then if you need to manage licenses across your team, you can do so here in user management. This is also where you can go to invite new members, add new licenses, everything you need if you're an admin for your organization to keep your team organized and make sure that your Seamless.AI unlimited licenses are assigned to the right people. So that covers probably the highlights of the settings. Obviously, there are a few more pages there, and we welcome you to explore them. Check out our Knowledge Center if you have other questions about other configurations you can make. But I want to make sure that we save some time to jump into Sales Navigator and look at the Chrome extension. So we saw a brief demonstration of the Chrome extension here in LinkedIn. So as you can see, we've layered the basic search functionality right over your experience in LinkedIn and LinkedIn Sales Navigator. You can skip to another view of pages. You can change or add a new default list for searching as well. Let's take a look and see how this works in Sales Navigator, just because I know we got to take a look at LinkedIn. So let's pop in there real quick. And let's run, for the search here, I'm going to go ahead and isolate by geography. We'll start with California. Yeah, and as you can see, you can narrow that down to additional locations too. I might even go ahead and do that. Try to go to Orange County. And then from there, I can also look at industry. Let's say I want to look at health, wellness, and fitness. I can filter by company headcount. So let's say I'm looking for some smaller shops along that front. And then I can filter by seniority level as well. So LinkedIn, being a database, provides a number of filters for me to work with. Now, as you can see, the same functionality is layered right over here with the results that LinkedIn Sales Navigator has pulled in. So from here, I can add a new default list, CA Health. Go ahead and add that for us. And then if I hop back over to my Seamless.AI account, you'll see that my default list is automatically reset there as well. So these are talking to each other in real time. So once I have that list set, I can go ahead and select Find All. And we do normally recommend having the app open while you're working out of Sales Navigator. Then if I scroll back up, all those contacts are being saved and researched back over here. Now, one of the primary reasons people use these two technologies in collaboration with each other is to validate the information that you find in LinkedIn. Obviously, it's great to have access to really robust filters like this. All of us have volunteered a lot of data to LinkedIn over the years, and you have access to it, right? That doesn't necessarily mean that it's accurate. You know, there are a lot of people out there who have old jobs or, data that's, on LinkedIn that has fallen by the wayside. So we want to make sure that the data validation we're providing you here in Seamless helps you work around that. So not only are we helping you build lists at scale and save these contacts in a scalable fashion, we're performing the same data validation that we do when you search natively within the website. So this email address is valid, we can confirm that, and we have additional validation and confidence building performed on the phone numbers as well. So that's one of the primary reasons people use both of these tools. Now, Sales Navigator is one of LinkedIn's premium products. We know people at LinkedIn. We think that they're good folks. They have some great products. We actually use LinkedIn Sales Navigator ourselves, but we're not recommending it out of any formal affiliation. We simply think it's a great product. Our customers have had a great experience using both. If you haven't tried a free trial of Seamless and Sales Navigator together yet, Sales Navigator does offer a 30-day free trial. If you haven't signed up and tried it, I would recommend it. A lot of our clients have done exactly that and been able to demonstrate the ROI of using both products together. Now, a couple of pro tips, if you're going to go down that route. You'll see up here that Sales Navigator tells me that I have about 1,700 results saved, right? Now, due to LinkedIn's page view, daily limitations, I'm only going to be able to get about halfway through this list, if that. So what we recommend doing is adding additional filters to get this number down below 1,000. So that way, as you leave off, you won't be left hanging. So I'm going to go ahead and remove maybe that 1 to 10 company headcount and see if that helps me get below that threshold. And it does. So, this is probably going to be the best way for me to move forward with this list because I'll be able to save all 774 of these contacts in one go. Come back again tomorrow and search for a slightly different set of parameters saved on either the same list or a new list if I want to find a way to differentiate. And one more behavior to coach on. Again, pro tips learned from our most successful clients. When I click Find All, scrolls down and saves my contacts, right? But it's only finding the contacts on that first page. We want to make sure we stay within LinkedIn's terms of service and continue to be good partners with them. So I'm going to click Next and click Find All again. If you find yourself hitting Next and Find All in quick succession, whether you're in Sales Navigator or in the app, you're doing it right. That is exactly what our power users do to build out lists quickly. Set your parameters and move with confidence to build out these lists. Cast a wide net. As you can see, when I head back into the app, all of that information being stored here for me. So a few other features to call out. We do integrate with LinkedIn lists as well. So if you use that feature, the Chrome extension will layer right over those lists. And we're actively working on the ability for the extension to work with LinkedIn Recruiter as well, since we know we have a lot of clients that use that product. So that hopefully will be on the horizon before too long. Just to quickly take a look at one more feature in the app, most of our clients who are targeting contacts by geographical area or industry or company headcount, this is how most of them are doing it. They're doing it in combination of Sales Navigator and the Seamless.AI Chrome extension. However, we do provide some features for you to search for companies here in the app natively. So let's say I'm looking for animation companies, and I'm going to go ahead and look in New York City, or I'll go ahead and look in all of the United States. But if you wanted to dial down by geography, you certainly could within the app as well. And let's say I'll probably just stick with that for now, but I could also look at estimated revenue or employee size, right? When I hit search on the company search, I don't get any results matching my search criteria. That's all right. I'm just going to go ahead and let's look for a different field to represent. So we'll look at biotechnology. We'll find some companies that fit those parameters and bring some of those in. Okay. So I've got a pretty wide net here. Now let's say I wanted to start to find some contacts at these companies. I want to ask you to keep your eye over here on this side of the app. If I hit select all, it's going to bring those top 10 companies right over here as filters on the contact search. And then I can use keywords to find the right types of people that I'm looking for at these companies. So I can add marketing as a keyword as opposed to a title. Now, one thing that can do is go a little bit beyond people who necessarily have marketing in their title and find people who are tied to marketing in other ways, who have it as a keyword in their profile, whether it's on LinkedIn or article or something in the media, something out there letting us know that they're involved in that field and will be relevant to our audience. There's also some Boolean logic applied here. So for instance, if I wanted to avoid assistance, I could add that as a minus keyword and remove any of those from my search. I'm going to go ahead, once I have these keywords set and I have the company set, and I search again, and now I have these being pulled in natively. So you have options. This helps you work within the app. Obviously, you're moving back and forth between company and contact search. We want to make sure that you have ways to tie this data together. And then from here, the process is very much the same. Set a default list, find these contacts, and go from there. But But like I said, a lot of our customers use the combination of Sales Navigator and the Chrome extension and see a tremendous amount of success. But you have a multitude of options in how you can use the tool. Okay. So that covers all of the basic functionality that we wanted to look at today. I'm going to take a moment here to give us a breath. I know we were able to jump in and help answer some questions along the way, both through the demonstration and through the assistance of Jake, who I know has been chatting with people and different attendees as they've brought questions in. But I'll take a breath here to see if we have any other questions, since we do have some time left. Okay. Well, I'm not seeing anything else come in. That's perfectly all right. Well, thank you so much for asking questions along the way. We really appreciate it. It's always good to have some examples to look at and to use as part of the demonstration. Once again, a couple of pro tips and highlights to hit. Make sure you move with confidence. Don't be afraid to make liberal use of that Find All button, whether you're working with the Chrome extension or working with the app. And then the other pattern of behavior that we've seen lead to a lot of success for our customers, again, cast a broad net. Don't be afraid to go outside of your usual suspects when it comes to titles. You are no longer paying per lead, per phone number. You're on a Seamless.AI unlimited license. You might as well make use of it. Be creative. Put your SEO specialist hat on and find creative searches that help you cast a wide net. And ultimately, you're trying to book more qualified meetings and close more business. So we want to make sure you have access to technology that lets you do that in new and creative ways. And I do have another question coming in that I'll work on answering live. It's good to see some more trickle in as we finish up here. So the question is, if I have a list of companies and contacts, what is the fastest way to find direct dials? Is it one at a time? So if you have a pre-existing list, we actually offer a separate product that could be helpful that we call Cleanse. And it's an enrichment service that if you have an existing data file that you want to provide some enrichment on or automate, we can do that. We're actually working on building out some enhancements to this in the near future. But the short answer is there is a way to do it through this product. Sometimes we'll have clients who will do that if it's a particularly large list or if the data file that they say, you know what, we might as well invest in a little bit more, support in getting this cleaned up so we can make use of it. So that's one way to do it. Otherwise, we definitely have clients who, if there are specific companies or specific contacts that they're looking for, they'll do that one at a time, and that way they can save them to their existing default lists and make sure that they're part of larger campaigns as they move forward. So a couple of options that you can pursue there, both included with your Seamless.AI unlimited license and without. Great question. All right, I don't see any other questions coming in. I think what we'll go ahead and do is close out for today. Once again, we thank you all for attending. Please don't forget to reach out for help if you need it. Search the knowledge base, send us an email. And not just if you need help or support or have questions, if you have ideas, if you have feature requests, really anything that's going to help us continuously strengthen and enhance the app and help drive success for you, we definitely want to hear about it. Most of the enhancements and changes we've made along the way, as we were the first to cross the finish line to build a product like this, the optimizations we've built out, we've relied very heavily on our users to tell us what to do next. So please make sure we hear from you as you continue to use the app. Keep us posted on how things are going, what level of success you're seeing, what you'd like to see us work on next. And we look forward to continuing to partner with you and being a part of your success, growing your business and helping you get to the next stage. More than anything, of course, thank you for attending today's webinar so we can help you get started. So with that, I'll go ahead and close this out. And I wish everybody a very happy rest of the week, good hunting, and we look forward to hearing from you down the line. Take care, everybody.